Hi and welcome back to Yoga with Tim. I'm Tim and today we're going to do yoga for runners. I'm going to recommend that you have a couple of blocks for today's class if possible, and also a strap if you have tight hamstrings, which I'm assuming you might if you're a runner. So we're going to begin today's class in Supta Baddha Konasana to help to open up your hips and to release some of the tension that comes from all the running that you're doing. So lie down onto your back with the soles of your feet together and knees wide apart. What I found when I used to do a lot of running is that no matter how much I focused on having good postures, my traps and my neck would get pretty tight. So this is a great way to begin your practice if you're a runner, which you are since you're watching this video, to help to release some of the tension that we hold in the neck and the shoulders. So we're just going to open up the arms to the side and visualize the shoulders melting into the floor. Let the tension in your hips release, relax your neck, relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Just completely empty that tension. Visualize it melting. Then we're going to try to move the arms in the socket without those muscles tensing up. So clasp your hands and slowly start to take your arms back towards the wall behind you, but feel that your traps aren't jumping up by your ears. You should feel them release down from the neck as your arm muscles stretch long. And then bring the arms back up. Again, slowly start to take your arms back, but now integrate your core, trying to let your ribs tip up. Bring your arms back up. And one more time. This stretch is also really good because it connects the shoulder fascia and the hip fascia, thoracolumbar fascia, and can provide a really nice release for your lower back from the hip tension. As the hips stretch, you'll feel the lower back spread. Then bring your arms back up, bring your knees together, drop your elbows out to the side, and let your arms open up like cactus arms. Then let your knees swivel over to the right as you look to your left. Change sides, so knees like windshield wipers, just starting to mobilize the hips a little bit. Change sides. And change sides. Then come back to center, and as you drop your pelvis down and your tailbone down towards the floor, start to bring your right knee towards you. So don't flatten your back to do it. Instead, keep your lower back long, your neutral curve, and start to bring your right knee in as you stretch your left leg out along the floor. Now, if your left leg goes lazy, the foot will turn out. Instead, I want you to keep your right 5 toes pointing up to the ceiling. Descend your left thigh. Feel your tailbone lengthen away from your lower back as you're long through the neck and the shoulders are relaxing. So you're not squeezing with your arms to hold the leg in. Then open your knee to the right, just a few degrees, so it's kind of lined up with your shoulder. Take your left arm up and slowly reach your left arm overhead. So you should start to feel a little opening in the pelvis by taking the knee out to the side, maybe even a slight stretch in your hip flexors. Bring the knee back to center and the arm up, and change sides. So now start to hug your left knee in and stretch the right leg out. Make sure that your right toes are pointing straight up. Now start to open your left leg to the side. Take your right arm up and slowly start to take your arm back. Drive through your right heel. Feel your spine get taller. And then come back up. Set that foot down. Now hug your knees into your chest. Roll yourself up to seated. And now let's come onto the hands and the knees. All right, so let's come into child's pose now with your big toes close towards each other. Start to stretch your hips back towards your heels and stretch your arms forward. Then come up onto your hands and your knees, and this is where your 2 blocks will come in handy. So place your 2 blocks near the front of your mat and bring your right foot up in between the blocks. Then let your hips start to sink towards your front heel, lift your chest, draw your navel up towards your heart. Then bring your hips back and stretch the hips back as you reach the toes down towards the floor on your right foot. We'll turn that into a little flow. So come into the lunge, lift up from your navel up to your heart, and then stretch your hips back and reach down through the front of the right foot. One more time. Lift up your navel up towards your heart, and then stretch back. All right, rebend that leg and change legs. So with your right knee down, let your hips melt forward towards your left heel as you lift up from your navel to your heart. Then stretch your hips back as you reach down through the left foot. Inhale into the lunge. Exhale into the stretch. Inhale into the lunge. And exhale. All right. Then from here, we'll turn the blocks down a notch and we'll step into downward facing dog. So in downward dog, you're trying to make an inverted V shape. As you press down into your hands, lift up through your hips, long line of energy from your wrist to your outer hips. Then walk your feet up to the front of your mat. Put a slight bend in your knees, let your head drop. Then bring your hands up onto your thighs and come all the way up to stand. Okay, let's practice a pose called tree pose now, which is going to help with the muscles in your feet to help with balance so that if there are inconsistencies in our striking, we can start to, it's not like you're going to change them in one day, but we can start to become more consistent with how our foot lands on the floor. So you want to feel that first the sole of your foot opens, your toes are all spread, and you want to think of 3 points: the ball of the big toe, the pinky toe mound, and the center of your heel pressing straight down. So press straight down through your left foot, and then start to slide your right heel up your thigh. So if you're really tight in your hip, you might just stay here below the knee. You might be able to bring your heel up or all the way up towards your groin. Do what you can, and then take your arms out in front of you and start to raise your arms all the way up. Now remember those tight muscles in your shoulders that want to hike up like this, soften through those muscles, and then feel your arm muscles lengthen up through your fingers. So the upper traps spread horizontally, and your strong shoulder muscles are holding your arms up. Now bring your arms back down and change legs. As you press down through your right foot evenly, start to slide your left heel up, either below or above your knee. And then feel your lower back opening as you take your arms forward. Raise your arms all the way up. Remember, don't let those traps hike up. Spread the traps horizontally, but then feel that your strong deltoids are holding your arms up. Feel the arm muscles stretch, the sides of your waist grow taller. Then bring your arms back down, lower your leg down. Now for these next stretches, I'm going to recommend that we use the wall. So we'll take the mat over to the wall, and we're going to practice side angle and triangle from the wall. So the first thing that you can do is have one of your tall blocks handy. You'll step your left foot up against the wall. I'm showing the other side because I pretend like I'm mirroring for you. Left foot against the wall, and right foot steps out. Now I'm lining my feet up heel to heel. Put your left hand at the wall, and as you press into your left heel, against the wall, start to bend the right knee. Now, as you look at your right knee, make sure that your center ankle, center knee, and center hip are all tracking. Because of the tension in these abductors, it'll want to pull your knee into the midline. So instead, stretch from your groin towards your knee, and stretch from this back leg groin towards its own knee. It's a pretty good stretch here. Okay, cool. Then from here, now you've done this stretch for a little bit, Let's try a different stretch. Start to tip from your side body out from your pelvis, keeping your side body long without your chest closing, and see if you can bring your elbow onto your leg. Then see if you can take your top arm all the way over your ear, and this is called Utthita Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. So this variation at the wall is a great pose for runners to start to build confidence in opening up. So when we have walls, straps, props, it gives our body the opportunity to relax into the stretch. So we don't have to use the muscles to hold us up. So this is how I often teach runners how to do the standing poses, so that those tight muscles that tend to take over to give you the spring in your step can start to release and lengthen. Then come back up from there. And with your legs straight, look down, see that the four corners of your knee point straight out, tip from your pelvis out over your leg, and place your hand down onto your block. Now, if the block is too low and you round over to put your hand on it, you could use a chair or 2 blocks. Take your top arm up. Then reach to your feet and come back up. Turn your toes in and step your legs together. Now I'm going to show you from the behind so you can see what it looks like that way. So you step your other foot at the wall, turn your leg out, have your block set up handy, and the hand goes to the wall. Okay, so I seal the heel into the wall. Now turn your left thigh out and make sure that the knee tracks with your ankle. Lift up from your navel up towards your heart, chest open. This is modified warrior 2 at the wall. Then from here, bring your forearm to your thigh, connect into your back heel, and take your top arm all the way over. Reach down through your feet and come back up. Then with your legs straight, hands to your hips, tip from your pelvis out over your leg and put your hand down. So the block should go right underneath the shoulder. Lift navel up to heart, reach from your hips into your back heel and take your top arm up. Now the line of energy, you're trying to pull up through the spine and extend out, as opposed to rounding over to see how low you could get your hand. Reach through your feet, come back up. Now parallel your feet. I'll show from the front so I'm not being rude. Parallel your feet, and with your hands on your hips, tip from your pelvis. Now you might need a block, a chair, or scaffolding underneath your hands to get a flat back, but whatever you got to do, get a flat back. And hold here in the flat back, open up the soles of your feet, feel your legs like they're growing longer from your hips down through your feet. Then bend your left knee and walk your hands over to the left. Stretch from your right inner leg towards your right foot. So this is a great stretch to start to improve dorsiflexion, to help with your squat, with your lunge. The calf muscles and the ankles get pretty tight for runners. I used to do a lot of running, and this would be a great stretch to help. All these will be great stretches, I think, to help. So I put them in here. Then change sides, walk over to the other side. But I just want to keep you confident in what you're doing. If you weren't sure, you're like, is this really going to help me? I don't know about this anymore. Yes, this is good. Okay, come back to the middle and see how far forward you can fold. And then come back up. Okay, these next stretches at the wall are going to help with your hamstrings and also with your dorsiflexion. So take your toes up the wall, just like this. And then step your other foot back, your left foot back, about 3.5, maybe 4 feet. Now notice the angle of rotation I have on my back foot. It's turned in more than halfway, 65, somewhere between 65 and 85 degrees. I don't have my protractor, so I'm just guessing. Now as I press into the back heel and stretch the back leg, I'm gonna, with my right leg straight, just start to lean out. And I already you might feel like, whoa, it's pretty intense in my hamstring, just to tip forward a little. That's fine. If you can bring your forearms to the wall, that's even better. Breathe into the stretch, but try not to hunch over. So feel your spine elongate as you do it. And then keeping the stretch to your back leg, imagine you could breathe right into the tension in your right leg. And then see if you can slowly start to bend your right knee without your back heel lifting. Come back up and change sides. And slowly start to bend the knee. And come back up. All right, good. Now I'm going to take the mat back away from the wall. And let's come to lie down onto the back. Okay, so for the next set of stretches, you might want to have your strap handy. We're going to go a little deeper into the hips and the hamstrings. So this figure 4 stretch will be great for the piriformis. So I cross my ankle over my knee. Now, if your hips are super tight, you might want to do this one against the wall, where you start with the left heel, that's this one, against the wall, and you can slide it down so that you don't have to muscle with your arms and try to hold your leg. Like some of my students, they're so tight from running, it's difficult just to hold the leg here. But if you're more open in your hips and you can hold your leg with relative ease and still relax into the stretch, cool. But again, that's not the case for many runners. Many runners that I know, even who practice yoga regularly, have to do this with this foot against the wall, and the shape looks more like what I'm doing right now. And they're like, oh my God, this is so much stretch. So all different levels, find what works for you. Then release that stretch. And now we'll do a twist. So the left foot comes to the floor, your right ankle is crossed over. Slowly let your legs fall over to the left, and then look to your right. Then come back to center. And last stretch on this side. Take your strap across your right foot and take your right leg straight up into the air. So what I want you to feel is that your thigh bone drops down and away from you. So you might need to lower your leg to here, but you don't want to be holding the leg and having the thigh and the hip jump up like this and your neck. So take the leg far enough away from you so it feels like your hip crease drops down. Then slowly start to stretch your left leg out along the floor. And bend that right knee, release, and change sides. Cross your left ankle just above your knee, and start to hug the leg in, or if you're at the wall, slide the heel down and practice that way. In fact, that's a nice way to practice. We should have just stayed at the wall. Jeez. That's a nice way to practice so you don't have to use the arms as much. Then set your right foot down, open your arms out to the side. Slowly let your legs fall over to the right. And look to your left. Come back to center, and then where's your handy dandy strap at? Take your strap across your foot, take your legs up and as straight as you can. Hip crease releases away from you as you stretch your other leg out along the floor. And release. Then stretch your legs out for Shavasana. So just let all the muscles in your body relax from head to toe. Completely relax. And take 3 conscious breaths. Watch your breath moving in and out through your nose. Notice how at the end of your yoga practice, how much different your body feels. Like there's better flow of energy. Feels less sticky in your sticky spots. The body, just in general, feels more open. Like there's more space. There's more space for the breath. So the stretching is a super important part of your regimen to help to keep your body healthy. Gently bend your knees and roll over to your side. Press yourself up to seated. All right, well, thank you for joining me, and I want to encourage you to stick with your yoga practice, and you'll find that over time it will help with your mobility. It's going to help to keep you injury-free, and also I strongly recommend that you do your stretching at the end of your run. If you want to warm up, you want to do more dynamic things at the beginning of the run, like leg swings, things like that, but stretching is meant to be done after exercise. Thanks so much for joining me. Namaste. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, let me know what you thought, and if you'd like to see other specified videos for other things that you do. And also subscribe to the channel, please, if you haven't already. It's the best way to support the channel, and it'll make sure that you don't miss any future uploads. Turn on that notification bell too when you go to subscribe. I'll see you next time.